wasn't going to post a video today, but I changed my mind because a viewer suggested that I do a how-to on this whole mask thing. I'm not going to do that, but I am going to weigh in on the different designs and different patterns, different materials, elastic, all of that, in case you are thinking of tackling this project. And I have probably spent the last 2 weeks working on masks, watching videos, seeing how different people made them, trying to find the best process, the fastest, the best material, all of that. And I've tried a whole slew of things, and I don't want to see you guys have to reinvent the wheel. So I'm going to weigh in on, as kind of a review of the different masks, and the one that I have landed on as what I think, at least currently, is the superior model. So first, I started by watching a doctor whose wife had made one out of vacuum bags, and the doctor suggested the Hepa filter bags because they filter out like 99.9% of particles. So I ordered I ordered a bag of vacuum bags, and I didn't know how big they would be, and it was a rather large vacuum bag. And you can get 6 of this particular pattern that this doctor's wife came up with, which looks like this, and it's kind of the duckbill design. And so that was the first one I started with, and I made them out of the Hepa filter. I made them out of cloth. I tried all kinds of things, and her method has these 2 straps that go over the head like this. So you've got the here, let me put it on. So you've got these straps like this, which I find incredibly irritating because they're always falling down. So I didn't particularly like that. I also used pipe cleaners. A lot of people have come up with different things to use to try to mimic the N95 filter, which is what this is. Somebody gave this to me. I did not buy it. And it has that nice, strong metal piece there. I can't find anything to mimic that, but a lot of people have recommended pipe cleaners. They've used bag ties, floral wire, paper clips, all kinds of things. And I've experimented with several of those. You can glue them in or you can sew them in. I've tried both. I think sewing them in is actually probably a better method. I think it's faster. So that's the duck-billed version that's made out of, I did cloth. I also did one that was made out of cloth, and then I inserted a Hepa filter inside of it to kind of give it a little bit more filter. But the truth is, it gets too hot and too hard, I think, to breathe through all of that. So then I also practiced on the ones that fold out like this. So they have the pleats in them, and then you go like this. And these wrap around the ears like this. And they're fine, but there seems to be an awful lot of fiddling with these. I like them much better because they have the elastic that goes around the ear instead of the head. And so I thought that was a superior design. You do have to be aware, though, if you're making these, that the ones I saw online, a lot of patterns were 7 by 9. I don't find that big enough for my head. So I increased the size to 8 by 10, which is what this is. You also want to make sure when you're making these that they're not too wide on the side. This one really is too wide on the side, and you get too much gapping over here. And so that was a whole stack that I made. Some are small, some are large, some are 4 layers, some are 2 layers. So that was that one. And then I went on to this other one that looks more like the beak of a bird, this beak-sized one. And I made those out of fabric. This is a knitted fabric, a t-shirt that I cut up. This one also had the pattern, showed that the strap, this is actually one piece of elastic that is encased in the edge of this, which is, good design, but it uses an awful lot of elastic, which you cannot find right now. And I was trying to make do with my stash. I have a lot of various kinds of elastic in here. So that was that one, and that one is perfectly fine. And then this morning, the Washington Post had an article about masks, and they had links to different different videos, and one was a man who had made one out of a t-shirt, no sewing at all. You just cut it with scissors, you measure it with your hand, and you wrap it around your head. He was actually like a contractor kind of guy who uses it for, you know, if he's going to clean out an attic or paint something or whatever. And I thought, oh, that's very clever, and that's good. If you don't have any kind of sewing abilities, you can at least, you know, use a pair of scissors. And so I will put the link to that video below. And then there was another woman who had a bandana, and she had two ponytail bands that she folded in such a way that it became a mask, and that one looked very nice. And so if you know, another no sew, not even any cutting involved, and so I'll link that video below as well. But then this morning in the Post article, somebody had suggested a non-woven fabric might be best, and a non-woven fabric like a shop towel, those blue shop towels. So this morning when I was at Costco, and I braved Costco this morning, I don't know if I'll do that again. I wore a mask, and I also wore my onion goggles. I have some glasses that you wear when you're cutting onions, and so I wore that as well. Now, of course, when you have a mask on with eye protection, you often fog up because of the gap that's between the bridge of your nose and the glasses. One way to keep that from happening is you can use fashion tape, Hollywood fashion tape, which looks like this. You can buy it at Target, you can buy it online, and it's a double stick tape. I cut it in half, comes in strips like this. You can also get it on a roll sometimes. And it comes on these, it's very, very sticky. It'll stick to your skin. I use it sometimes to make sure that the microphone doesn't flip around, which has happened, and then you get muffled sound. But this is really good for keeping, you can put it on your face and then adhere the mask to your face, and that really helps to keep that tied down. And so that's one tip. And then the other tip is to do what scuba divers do. Well, I'm not going to say spit. I guess they're more of the spitters. But some people will take shaving cream and rub that on the inside of their goggles, and that keeps them from fogging up. And that worked pretty well for me. But the one I wore to the store today was, I wore this variety, not this one. I wore this beak kind with a Hepa filter liner inside, and it was just too hot, too uncomfortable, and I came home with a headache. So that wasn't the best. So that got me thinking, well, let's try to make that same filter with the same beak-shaped one with the shop towel. But this time, let's make it with the earpieces because they're so much more comfortable, you know, wrapping around that way. So that's what I did. But I did find that I had to adjust the pattern and put a tuck in it because the side was too big and you get too much gapping. Okay, so that was that one. And then I started thinking, well, let's go back to this original duck-billed one and see what that is like with this shop towel fabric. And that one is super fast because it's basically all you're doing is stitching once around here and then stitching. What I did was I cut a piece of the pipe cleaner or whatever you're going to use for the metal part, and I did a zigzag stitch over the top of it to secure it in place. And then instead of using the wraparound elastic, I did the same thing over the ears. And that was just super easy. This is the easiest one that I've come up with, and I think it's inexpensive. I'm actually going to cut all the elastics off the other ones that I made and apply them to this style. And this style is great because it gives you extra room in the bill so that you can actually breathe easier. And I can still apply the fashion tape if I want to hold that down, and make some of these, throw them in the van, so when we're on the road, when we've been given the green light, when we're on the road, we can go to the grocery store and have these on hand. I want to say something about elastic. The size of the elastic that you cut is very much dependent upon the stretchiness of it. This elastic is very stretchy. This elastic is not even stretchy, but it's like too strong. Now you can, with this wider elastic, if that's all you have, you can cut it. you can cut it lengthwise and cut it into like 1/8 inch pieces. And that would probably be more comfortable. I find approximately 7 inches, depending on the stretch, 7 inches is good. Now this is like thread elastic. The problem with this is it's really hard to get it sewn to the fabric because it wants to slip out. So if your needle does not actually go penetrate the elastic, then it will just pull right out with any kind of, force. So you have to be really careful when you're stitching this stuff on to make sure it doesn't come out. But it is very comfortable though on the ears. So either this thread elastic or the 1/8 inch elastic, this is really soft, is, in my opinion, the best choice if you have it. Otherwise, try to cut up some other elastic. As far as my posting videos going forward, I don't really know what my schedule is going to be like. It kind of depends on what inspires me, what I think might be valuable. And so we'll just wait and see. Maybe it will be every couple of weeks. Maybe, who knows what'll happen. But if you have any ideas, things you would like me to do, we're kind of limited on projects because we don't want to go out. We're trying to do things that keep us right here at the house. At the end of this video, though, I am going to show how I did sew these. I don't think there'll be any voiceover or anything, but if you care to see me stitching these and how quickly they went together, then stay tuned and you can watch that. And if you have questions, of course, post them below and I will answer them as best I can. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon, and please take care.